Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. This is James Conti, and I'm here with an absolute superstar. This is Beth. Beth, say what's up.
Hey, how you going, everyone?
Amazing, amazing. You're in Queensland.
Yep, North Queensland. Sunny North Queensland today, thank God.
Very good, very good. And you're just waking up because you got night shift, right?
Yeah, just waking up.
Very cool. Very, very cool. I appreciate you jumping on board and having this interview. This is gonna be fun. For those of you here who don't know Beth, you probably see me talk about her on my Instagram in the past. Beth is one of our newest students who just recently jumped on board, and she is incredible. She came in as a absolute complete beginner, and her story is really, really cool. How she's managed to go from completely brand new to this to absolutely smashing the basics, now moving into some more of the advanced stuff, and absolutely killing in the process. A massive inspiration. And today, what I want to do is just chat with her for a little while and go through sort of her experience, what she's learned, some of the lessons she's got along the way, and some of the things that she might recommend to you as a beginner as well. So, Beth, I guess with that being said, starting off, how did you get into this online stuff? Let's start there.
I've sort of always had an interest in the e-commerce world. I come from a retail background, so I can sort of see that's how the world's going, how retail's going, how, the world's sort of moving. So yeah, I've always sort of had an interest in it, and I think the biggest motivator for me was to try and create a passive income to get out of the shift work that I'm currently doing. So yeah, that's probably my biggest motivator.
For sure. How long have you been doing the shift work for?
Be 6 years now.
6 years. Okay, cool. So is that night shift for 6 years?
Yeah, predominantly night shifts. So
Understood.
yeah,
Okay. Makes sense. And so how long have you been sort of considering going online before you reached out to us?
it'd probably be a couple of years. I've sort of dabbled in a few, you know, get rich quick courses and that sort of stuff, and I can tell you now, none of them work.
Right. For sure. What did you try in the past?
Um, Not so much drop shipping, the Amazon affiliate program and stuff like that. I just feel like you sort of left to your own devices and just left to sort of, sink or swim. Whereas I feel like with you guys, you can't sink if you follow the program and if you get the help that you guys provide. Like there's no way of failure.
100%. That's awesome. Okay, so you tried a lot of these different things, a lot of self-paced course stuff.
Yeah.
That's powerful. And I remember when we connected and we started chatting on Instagram, one of the biggest things for you was looking for a coach. It wasn't a course or a bunch of videos, it was real coaching. It was one of the things we spoke about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, especially with my shift work, and I am a very OCD organized person, having that accountability from a coach makes a massive difference. Whereas, especially with the night shift, I can go 2, 3, 4 weeks without looking at the modules or doing anything like that. Whereas, I had Dan at the start of this journey, and he was great, checking in on a regular, making sure I was, pushing through and getting everything done, and it makes a massive difference.
Love it. I love it. That's so good to hear. And you came in and absolutely smashed it. In fact, your story is actually one of my favorite stories to share with people, which is that I remember when you jumped in and you joined Ecom Boss, you accessed everything, and I believe you what kind of vehicle were you in?
I was I was in one of the work cars on my
Yeah, you're in
laptop.
one of the work cars, and he sent me a photo of you with your laptop, and you're like, "I'm gonna go through the whole damn thing tonight." And
Yeah.
he was sending me like photos. I was literally asleep. I was like waking up to all these photos of you smashing through it. And obviously, as a result, you made sales very quickly. How long did it take you to get your first sale?
I think it took about a week after my first marketplace listing. And pretty much as soon as that sale came through, then the messages started flooding in, and yeah, it was pretty overwhelming for like the first few days. And then once I, got into my diary and started writing out a plan and a schedule for my days, it made a massive difference.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, from complete beginner to making your first sale within a week, that's pretty hardcore. And really, there's this saying that you've heard me talk about countless times now, which is that success loves speed, right? It's funny because someone who's quite OCD, so oftentimes it can be like your weakness. But it's good that you move
Yeah.
so quickly because it's a lot better just to mess up and just get started and just move as fast as you can and clean it up along the way, as opposed to be really, really perfect everywhere and you never get there. So the fact you
Yeah.
did everything so quickly makes sense why you got sales so quickly.
Yeah, and I feel like that first sale is a massive motivator as well. Like, okay, this is actually going to work, and this, you guys have obviously gone through it all, and it's proven to work. But I feel like until you get your first sale yourself, it's a massive awakening call. Like, okay,
Oh yeah.
this is going to happen.
you really do go from like, is this possible? Like, will this work? To like, holy shit, this is real. Now it's game on. Is it's
Yeah.
really it's like a light switch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like so with my first marketplace sale, I was obviously still going through the AI marketplace modules. And then it was probably about a week after I made my first sale that I got to the mentoring modules,
Hmm.
the mindset modules.
Hmm.
And once I went through them, that just completely shifted everything. Like I've been through a lot of like self-help mindset, all that sort of stuff, and they were probably some of the best modules I've ever gone through. Like it just flicked a switch and made a massive difference in everything.
That is so good. That's so good. I'm glad. It's oftentimes people spend so much time in the mindset stuff early on, and
Mm.
that can be a bit of a downfall because people spend so much time thinking and don't start doing. And so when we give you all the action stuff first, so you can start making money, and then we go back, we revisit some of the really cool mindset stuff that really does make a difference as you start to get a bit more advanced. It's really, really cool that we do in that order, and I'm glad you got a lot of value out of it because some of that stuff there is a lot of me just saying, hey, here's everything I wish I knew when I started, so that you don't have
Yeah.
to make the same mistakes, which is really beneficial. And I think that's cool. With that being said, I mean, first sale within a week, and so now we're about 6 weeks into your journey. Seven? What do you reckon?
Yeah, maybe about 7, 8 weeks almost.
Okay, 7 8 weeks. Tell me about what the journey has sort of been like. So you made your first sale. What sort of happened up today? What have you been working on? What are some of the highlights? Like, run me through that.
Okay, yeah, so sort of made my first sale and then made a few smaller ones after that. But I think the biggest thing was the consistent messages and just seeing really what's working with certain products and everything like that. Um, like you guys talk about in the modules, you can definitely see, what you guys mean about the unicorn products and what people are really, pushing towards. Um, yeah, so I smashed through all that. Had my transformation call with Dan, and then got invited to um, the elite group, and took that with all guns blazing, and I created my website within a week. So yeah, now we're here.
Fire. You're on fire. I love it. You're moving super quickly, and you've literally gone from beginner, no idea what you're doing, finding products, making sales consistently. Now we're scaling things up. It's exciting. I'd love to know. Sort of going back to when you were thinking of getting started, were there any sort of like limiting beliefs or nerves or doubts that you had in your own mind about what was possible for you or things that sort of stopped you in the past? Like any sort of limiting beliefs that you found yourself struggling with before you got started?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is time. And like you said in the mindset modules, you have to make time. At the end of the day, no, this course isn't going to do itself. So yeah, time is probably the biggest thing for me, just because of me already trying to juggle shift work, young family, social life, whenever I can fit that in. But once I started making time and dedicating time to the course, it made a massive difference. And I think the other thing is investing money into the unknown.
Hmm.
I feel like that can be a very limiting belief for a lot of people who, don't have a lot of money behind them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I think they were my two biggest sort of, holdbacks. But I think once I got out of my head a little bit and then pushed through, then yeah,
Yeah.
failure is not an option. This is going to work.
100%. Yeah, and we've seen that turn around. That's so great seeing you go from that to where you are now. Your confidence level is ridiculous. In fact, some of my favorite things is like you post in the Facebook group a lot with a lot of our members, and you really are a bit of an inspiration to them. You know, there was a photo the other day where I think were you donating blood?
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
donating blood and making money at the same time, and everyone was rallying around that. Like you're an inspiration now. You've really embodied a lot of the stuff that we talk about, which is great. What would you say are some of the biggest learnings or takeaways that you feel have been the most valuable after going through, say, the beginner program?
Um, Take advantage of your coaches. They're there to help you, obviously. And yeah, I feel like one of the biggest learnings for me was making the time to do it. And being consistent. I think being consistent was the biggest thing for me, because once I got into a rhythm, once I was more consistent with, my marketplace and, dealing with my customers, clients, whatever you want to call them, um, I seen the consistency come back in sales. So I think that was the biggest thing for me in the start of the program, is just being consistent, and you'll see consistency in return in your sales.
100%. Did you personally, or is it, or has been maybe it's always been something you're really good at? But did you struggle initially with sort of getting consistent with the time each day, or has that always been something you're quite good at?
Sorry. Yeah, I at the start it was tough. Just because I'd sort of go, okay, I'll allow an hour at this time, and then something had
Hmm.
happened. So I just ended up putting it in my diary. I made a list of exactly what I needed to do each day, and I just made sure by the end of the day everything was ticked off, everything was done. And then I slowly started to realize, okay, this is going to take me an hour to do, or this is going to take me 2 hours to do. And then I'd start blocking out that in my calendar. And I sort of just made it work for me rather than, a normal person getting up at 7 a.m. every day, doing an hour of work and then going to their 9 to 5. I don't get to do that. So I just had to make it work for me. And yeah, it made a massive difference.
I love that. I'm somebody who's quite ADHD and creative. And so what happens is a lot of the time, like things slip by me. It's whatever's exciting for the day is usually what I end up working on. And so I had to learn a long time ago that if it's not on the calendar, it's not happening. And so as
Yeah.
soon as it's on the calendar and it's scheduled, it's real. And if it's not on there, it's not happening. And so
Yeah.
it sometimes can be as simple as like, yep, at 4 p.m., this is what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
what happens is if you look around at a lot of people, they will make appointments and they will show up for appointments with everything else. When they go to the doctors, they're there. If they've got a movie ticket, they're there. If they've got coffee with a friend, they're there. But then when it comes to making appointments with ourselves, when it comes to going to the gym or working on our business, we suddenly just no show them. We just don't show up to our appointments with ourselves or look after those things. And they're really, really important times. And so it's good to see you making that progress and stuff like that. It's wonderful. Really, really good. And I guess one last question. If somebody was in your shoes starting out, and they're exposed to a lot of the different gurus and courses and crap out there, and they're probably a little bit nervous about getting started with a coach. Uh, if you could talk to them as if you were talking to yourself when you started out, what would you say about where you recommend they should go, whether it's Ecom Boss or it's something else? What should they be looking for in a mentor? Like, what advice would you give to somebody starting out who wants to get help, but they're not really sure where to go?
I think the biggest thing is back yourself. If you have an inkling or want to make it work, backing yourself is going to be the biggest thing because if you don't have trust or belief in yourself, you're not going to get too far. But also have trust in the process. I think that's the biggest thing. You know, all the get rich quick schemes and stuff like that, they're very inviting and, they can pull people in. They can also pull a lot of money out of your bank account and you
Yeah.
not see any return. So I think, yeah, the biggest thing is trusting the process and trusting the coaches. Obviously, you've seen results all through the group. And, I myself have seen results in my own bank account and without the help of Dan, Emmett, and yourself, I definitely wouldn't be where I am. And yeah, trusting you guys was probably the biggest thing for me.
I love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Which part of I guess the program would you feel was been the most helpful? Like the one-on-one coaching, the calls, the program. Which part do you think was the biggest factor in getting to where?
I think a mixture of all of it. Jumping on the Zoom calls, twice a week or now 4 times a week with Elite, has made a massive difference. I could just sit there and just listen to the whole session, and I might pick up on a few things that I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's been happening, or, oh, that's something I can try. Um, you don't necessarily need to, be vocal in the calls or anything like that. You can just sit back and watch and pick up on a whole lot. Taking a lot from the groups as well. Just reading everyone's posts, which is why I like posting in the group as well, because it really helped me,
Hmm.
when I started. Um, yeah, so just a bit of everything.
I love it. I love it. That's really, really good. The group stuff's really cool. There's a lot of it's I'm really proud of, and I talk about this where you go into a lot of other courses, and I've been through a million courses myself over the years. And you go into a lot of their Facebook groups, and I mean, you've probably even seen it as well. Is that the Facebook group is full of problems. It's full of questions and problems and complainers and stuff like that. What's really cool about our group is that you go in there, it's just people winning, people making sales, and you get a question here and there, but the majority of it is purely just sales, 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 and encouragement, encouragement, encouragement. Which is even for me, every time I log into Facebook, I get so excited, get this like rush of dopamine, you see everyone winning. It's very, very fun. It's very special. And I appreciate you saying that. And you're a big part of that with all your posts as well. So I guess,
Yeah, I think community is definitely a big thing with something like this. Having people to lean on is massive.
of course, and just seeing that other people are actually winning. Like imagine joining a program and then joining the group and not seeing anyone winning.
Yeah,
Like, oh my
exactly.
goodness, I'd freak out, you know? So that's
Yeah,
really,
exactly.
really cool. So what's next for Beth? Over the next 3 to 6 months, obviously, we've gone through the beginner stuff. You've learned the organics, how to go out there and make sales consistently without spending any money on advertising. Now we'll look at some of the more advanced stuff, building some stores, running some ads, doing something more scalable. When it comes to the next 3 to 6 months, what are your main goals with us you're looking to hit? Obviously, I'm aware of them, but for the people at home, what are you looking to achieve?
Yeah, obviously definitely scale my website. I think that's going to be my biggest thing. I've just started with the website situation, so finding my niche store and really knuckling down on that would be so exciting.
Mhm.
And yeah, scaling my business to, five, six, seven figures one day, would is definitely my long-term goal. But for the next 3 to 6 months, it's really just hustling down and just getting all the basics right. Listening to yourself, Emmett, Dan, and really hustling and just making it work.
I love it. I love it. You're in good hands, and with the way that you take action, there's no doubt in my mind you'll get where you're looking to go. So, like Beth, thank you so much for all your hard work, obviously, as a student and pushing hard and continuing to move forward and challenging yourself. You're incredible. You're going to go a very, very long way. I'm excited to celebrate it and do a follow-up interview in a few months, see where you're at. And thank you again for taking the time for people at home. I'm sure that was really helpful for them as well.
Yeah, no worries at all. Thanks for having me, James.
All right. Well, for those of you at home, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was valuable for you. If you've got any questions for me or Beth, drop them in the comments section below. We're here. If you've got any questions, you can go ahead and let us know. And if you want to find out a bit more about Ecom Boss, I don't bite. My Instagram is below in the description box. You can send me a message. I'll send you a voice message back. It really is me talking with you. And I can go ahead and answer any questions that you may have as well. See if we can get you started as well. With that being said, we'll see you in the next video. Take care.